Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to the March 5th episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host.
And I'm bobbing up and down, but Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everybody.
And we're in the month of March, and it was hot here in Houston today. It was 85 degrees. I said, this is too much. This is too much. It was too hot. We normally aren't that hot. We normally are like in the 70s, but it'll get hot soon enough. But it was hot today. So we have a great show for you tonight. And Rhonda, are we ready for our first guest yet?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So with tonight, we are graced with 2 bookstore owners and our first 2 guests on bookstores. Excuse me. So we have some announcements we're going to do after this first interview. And we have 1 book we're going to be giving away. So our first guest is Cheryl Lee. She's a co-owner of the 44th and 3rd Bookseller. That's the name of the store in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's a family-owned bookstore. So I know she works with her husband and I think some other family members. So we're going to find out about the bookstore. And are you at the bookstore now, Cheryl? Oh, we need to unmute.
Yes.
Okay. You're at the bookstore now?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. And welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here.
You know, you favor somebody I went to college with named Cheryl.
Oh, really?
You really favor her. I had to do a double take. I know you weren't her. But you look like her. Wow. You have a double.
Oh, okay.
A doppelganger, as they say. But
Right.
anyway, tell us about your bookstore, 44th and 3rd. I assume that's where it's located in Atlanta. Is that correct? No. Okay, all right. So
that's so funny because so many people assume that it's a street.
Okay.
But it's not. 44th
There's
and
75
3rd.
streets named Peachtree.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And we're not, and everybody lives near one, right? But 44th and 3rd, 44th stands for our 44th president. So we try to curate in a section of our store, we curate books by and about the Obamas. We also have his President Obama's reading list for the last couple of years. We also have his, and the 3rd stands for Life, Literature, and Legacy. So we try to curate all our books around those 3 subjects. So
now that is unique because we've had dozens of bookstore owners with all different kinds of themes and focuses, but this is one that's new, and I had no idea. I thought it was at 44th and 3rd Streets. So
I know that you're not by yourself. You know, most people think that it's a street and they'll ask us if it's a street in New York, you know, or something like that. But no, we wanted to in some way honor our 44th president, because one of the reasons is that when we were visiting Chicago in I think it was in 2010, and visited one of the bookstores there, one of the big box bookstores, and noticed that they didn't have anything on President Obama in his city. And so we were like, that makes absolutely no sense, you know? And we wanted to make sure when we opened our store, we didn't open until 2017, but we wanted to make sure that that didn't happen, not in Atlanta anyway, you know. And we've been real successful with it. People have been really impressed because they can come in and see books that they're like, wow, I didn't know that there were that many books, you know, that have been written about President Obama and Michelle.
So, and children's books as well as, you know, all for all ages.
And about, because they've written quite a few books themselves.
Yes.
Yes, we also have children books as well. But we have, no, go ahead.
Well, how big is your section? Like, and you said you do the reading list. Does Michelle do a reading list? I know.
I don't know. You know, that's a
I
good
hadn't heard about her
question.
doing one.
But President Obama puts out his reading list every year around towards the end of the summer.
Well, his book list this year made a lot of got a lot of publicity because he had released his book list, and then he turned around and I think put the color purple on it. And they said, "Oh, Oprah called him and yelled at him for not putting her book on his list, so he had to hurry up and get."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but because of that joke, a lot more people saw his book list, and I actually chose a book from his book list myself. So I'm currently reading Heaven and Earth Grocery Store.
Oh yeah, that's a great book.
Yes.
Now, I read one of his books. Well, I'm not sure if he recommended this book. I know he recommended a book by this author, S.A. Crosby. Is it Crosby or Crosby?
Yes.
But I read All the Sinners Bleed, but I think he recommended a different one.
No, it was All the Sinners Bleed.
Oh, it was? Okay. I thought
he
did the one before that. Like, is it Razor Blade Tears or something?
Razor Blade Tears. I'm not really sure. It may have been, but I know All Sinners Bleed is on his list.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was a good book.
It was. Yes.
That was my first book by that author. In fact, I didn't know about that author.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. His first book was Blacktop Wasteland.
Yes.
So try and read that one too.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read that one yet, but the one that I read, All Sinners Bleed, was good. And the setting for it was in Virginia. And I'm from Virginia originally, so not the area that he focused on in the book, but Virginia is not all that big. Although it has a lot of different parts because it has a really rural, mountainous part, and then there's some cities like at the coast. So I'm from Newport News, which is closer to the coast.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's an original concept.
I love the thought into naming the store. I mean, because a lot of thought. You didn't just say, well, why don't we just name it after President Obama? You said, no, let's put some real thought into how we do this.
Yes, right.
Before it starts conversation with people as they come in.
Oh yeah, most everyone that comes in will ask us something about the name. And we always ask them, do they want to tour the store? Because even though our store isn't huge by no means, but we like to give them a tour of the store and tell them a little bit about the history of the store and the name, to make sure they understand where the name came from.
So have the Obamas ever been to your store?
No, they have not. I'm hoping that they will.
Have you all invited them to the store?
We haven't. That's a good question. But yeah, we probably should reach out to them. But no, we haven't had them come in yet. But we're hoping they will one day.
So what books are there, any particular books in that section that you lost some light?
I did.
That happens at work, and it's so spooky when it happens at work.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I don't know why it's coming.
Oh, our regulars are saying hello.
Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. Okay.
Happens.
So are there any particular titles that are the best sellers and the most demand when people come in?
Bestsellers. Of course,
I
we
mean,
have
of the Obama books,
all
of
the
the
of the
in that
Obama books.
section, in that section.
I would say his book, Dreams of My Father.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, that's very popular.
See, I
Um,
thought everybody had already read that book, but I guess not.
no, we still have people coming in, buying that book. Of course, his book, um, his
About his
autobiography,
presidency. Mhm.
yes, is very popular. We're still selling those as well as Michelle's. Both are still very popular and people are buying them. And Michelle has her second one that came out, so people are buying that one as well still. But yeah, I would say that those are the most popular.
Is
Well,
his memoir in paperback yet?
the funny story about Becoming. One year when after the book was released,
Hmm.
both my mother and I bought the book for each other for Christmas and didn't realize.
I've heard other people say that, but that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I bought it for my sister, and then she already had it, which I
Mm,
didn't know. So she ended up gifting hers, regifting it to somebody else.
right, right. Yeah, you can always give it away, as a gift.
Hmm.
People love the book.
Is his memoir in paperback or only in hardcover?
No, it's still hardcover.
Okay, because it's been out
Yeah.
a while, and a
Yeah,
lot of times they'll do the paperback a year or so after, maybe,
that's
no,
true.
a
But
lot of times with nonfiction, they take longer to do a hardcover
hmm
than they
yeah,
do fiction.
it just hasn't come out yet. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really sure when it will.
So you
Okay.
said you opened your bookstore in 2017?
Yes, we opened in November 2017. We weren't in the location that we are now. We opened in 2017 in a part of Atlanta called um, Little Five Points. And we didn't have our own our own brick and mortar at that time. We were a store within another store. And in 2019, we had the opportunity to open up this location. We had someone come out from the management team. We're located in the West End part of Atlanta.
Okay.
We're right down the street from Morehouse, Spelman, the Atlanta University Center.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
my like Atlanta.
yes, yes, and we hire students from all three colleges.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah, so when we got the opportunity, the management team came out to see us when we were in Little Five Points, and they really liked the setup that we had. And they at the time were building this space that we're in now. Most of it is apartments for students, but they also have a retail part that we were able to get into. They also have a Morehouse School of Medicine clinic, a YMCA, and next to us are a cafe and a beauty salon.
Okay.
But we've been here in this location since June 2021.
Okay. So I was going to ask you about COVID and how does that impact you all?
It's really funny what happened because we were in the process of transitioning to this location during COVID. And we were fortunate, actually, we were very fortunate in that we had just started our online business in May of 2020, and our online business took off. It was unbelievable. So even though we didn't have our store wasn't open at that time, we lost no business. We actually gained a lot of business.
Okay.
We had so many people wanting to buy Black books,
Right.
because of what was going on in the country at that time.
Right.
And a lot of Black bookstores did very well.
Yeah. I think to a person, if they were open during that time, because we've had some on the show that opened more recently. But the ones that were open during that time, they all have the same narrative to tell in terms of their business. Boom, that just shot through the roof. And it lasted about 6 months or so, and then it started to subside.
And that's why that's what type of thought, you had this boom that went on around for that 6-month period. What type of thought did you guys put into, okay, let's build on this? We have to keep this going. After a while, the thrill is going to die down, but we have to keep the bookstore going. So what type of thought process did you put into that?
Well, at that time, we were able to concentrate on opening the store again. So what really, I would say one of the things that helped us a lot was because of COVID and because of the boom in sales that we were getting, we were able to kind of figure out what people really wanted to buy, what types of books people wanted to buy, even though, we had a pretty good idea of what we were curating, but it even opened our eyes even more because we had so many people from all over the country. I mean, some people from out of the country were trying to get books from us, so that was very eye-opening, and it helped us to be able to curate even more books for when we were able to open the store.
That's awesome.
So do you have authors come in to the store for author visits and signings and things like that?
We do all the time. We've been extremely busy. Black History Month was crazy. We're actually going to probably cut down on some of the events because I'm really surprised how many requests we're getting. We also do we'll try and do self-published authors as much as we can. But we're really looking at trying to highlight our authors in Atlanta. So, yes. So if you're a published author in Atlanta, we will try and see if we can host an event for you if you're asking us. We do a lot of authors, big authors from the big publishers. We actually have a big event coming up on Thursday with Tim Ross at the Atlanta Research Library. So when we have something that big, it's like over 200 people, we will have to, find a venue that will accommodate that big of a crowd. And there's several venues that we've used in Atlanta. But we also have a space here. Our space where I am currently can fit comfortably about 40 to 50 people. But we also have another space next door to us that we can use. And it accommodates up to like 80 people. Okay. So we're having at least one, maybe 2 events a week.
Wow. So
good foot traffic.
Yeah.
So and Gwen just mentioned foot traffic. So is your store a standalone store, or is it connected with a shopping center?
It is connected with the apartment buildings that are here on campus.
That's a great location then.
Yeah, it's really a really good location. We were thrilled when we found out that this was something that we could possibly be a part of. At the time they were building the apartments, I think they had finished the apartments, and then they decided that they were going to do like the lower level where we are, that they were going to have some retail space there. Okay. So we're actually right in the lights again. I tell you, it's crazy. if no one's here, it'll go off. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Is it motion? It's like a motion detector thing. If there's no movement.
Yes,
Okay.
Ask my daughter if she's been to your store, because like I said, she graduated from Clark Atlanta.
Who?
My daughter.
Oh, your daughter?
Yeah,
Does she live here in Atlanta?
Yeah, she went to Clark Atlanta University.
Oh, well, ask her. Yeah, yeah.
So
we have.
at AUC.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you're very familiar then. Yeah, we're like maybe a block away from Morehouse and Spelman.
Okay, yeah, that's
And,
great.
Stop,
Great
stop. You better give Clark Atlanta some love.
I'm Clark Atlanta too. I mean, no, believe me, I love Clark Atlanta. We have, one of our longest associates that has worked here with us. She is at Clark Atlanta, and she's great. She handles our open mic. We have open mic every third Sunday of the month.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes.
Now, is you and your husband, and you have other family members involved with the business?
Yeah, my husband, Warren Lee, and my daughter, Elise Lee, are both involved. We're all co-owners. My husband, we do it pretty much full-time, my husband and I. My daughter has a full-time job, but she is our marketing person.
Okay.
Because that's what she does. So
okay. Well, it's good to have family involvement.
And then when we have a lot going on, we'll get the grandchildren involved too. We have two granddaughters and my son, and we have a daughter in California. So whenever, if we need all of them to jump in to help, they will.
That's great that everybody's using their strengths to strengthen the business.
Yes, definitely. Our niece, who is she's a assistant art director at Spelman, she works with us. She actually curated our art and entertainment section, and she did a great job with that. And our nephew that lives in California, he's our IT person because that's what he does.
Okay.
So, yes.
Perfect. Everybody fits in just perfectly. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, so, my husband and I had a brick and mortar store for 10 years that we both were full-time in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So well,
yeah, we were together all day, every day. And we had different areas of expertise. So he's on the tech side. I was on the marketing and the curating side. So it worked. And we had each had our own offices, and we were in the strip center, and it worked.
Yeah,
it worked until we decided to go in a different direction, but we did it for 10 years.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had the kids involved. The kids were younger then. We involved everybody was involved at some point doing something.
So now I know you said that you guys are very, very busy because you have the two events, almost two events a week now. But if there's an author who's watching tonight and they would like to get their book into your store, or they would like to maybe even do a book signing at your location, what would they need?
They would need to send us an email explaining what the book is about, when they would like to have the event. If they are in the Atlanta area, we would prefer that we get a copy of the book, because if it's a self-published author, we require that they have an event in the store.
Okay.
Because that lets us, figure out what the demand would be for the book and what type of audience it is for the book. And then we will decide at that time whether or not the book will if it's a self-published book, if it will go in the store. If it's a published book by one of the, big publishing houses, then typically if they have a publicist, their publicist reaches out to us and will let us know that they would like to have an event with us, and give us a date and time. If there's going to be a moderator, all that kind of stuff. If there's going to be an event space that they're going to need, like I said, the event we're having on Thursday, we knew that was going to be over 200 people. So we'd have to work to get an event space if it's going to be more than 80 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody in the Atlanta area wants to do that, or another area, but they really try to emphasize Atlanta area authors, reach out to 44th and 3rd Booksellers and send them an email. And you can probably just Google their store name and find the website and all that.
Yeah.
So
we did.
But the only thing I wanted to look at was I wanted to let her know a couple of comments we had from people. And one lady said she was from Clark Atlanta University, one of our viewers, and Quinette Wyndham. And somebody else said that thing we were talking about earlier about Michelle Obama's book, and she said she and her mother did the same thing. Jennifer Yancey, they each gave each other the book as gifts. That was one of the best-selling books, if not the best-selling book of that year.
She did a good job promoting that book, though. She went on
a
talk show. She did an interview during the Essence Festival on stage during the concert.
Yeah, she did. She did a great job. Yes.
Major promo for that. Well, Cheryl, we're at the end of our time, but we really appreciate you being a guest and taking the time from your busy schedule to let our viewers know about your store. And I hope some of them that watch the show, or some watch it after, some look at the replay. We get a lot of replay views. We'll come by and visit you.
Well,
and if they do, tell them you heard about it on Black Authors Matter TV.
Yeah, that would be great. I look forward to seeing anyone that wants to come into the store. And like I said, we'll give you a tour. We'll tell you about the store. And, we have several genres of books. All our authors are primarily African-American authors or authors from the African diaspora. So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you again for being a guest.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night. Okay. So we have a few announcements. So wanted to let everybody know several things. One, this is the last show that's included among the shows that we do for the Black Authors Matter TV Awards for this year. If those of you who have watched the show know that we take 1 year's worth of interviews, so we go from March to March, and we have them in different categories. Everyone who's been interviewed gets included in the process, and you get to vote on the most compelling interview in a variety of categories. We normally will have 12 or 13 categories, depending on the mixture of guests we've had over the 12-month period. And then we announce the finalists in April. And then we have our show where we do the awards, and the whole show, we announce the award winners in May. And I think, I don't have the date in front of me. I feel like it's like May 14th or something like that. But we'll give you more on that as time goes on. So this is the last show that's going to be included in that group. And then a couple of weeks from now, the voting will start, and we'll announce it on the show when the voting starts. Normally the voting lasts a couple of weeks, and you can vote multiple times for your favorites. So that's announcement number one. Announcement number two is that the book festival registrations are open. The event is October 17th through the 19th. As far as vendor space, our registrations are up by 50% over last year this time. So I'm anticipating we're going to sell out a month faster than we normally do. I'm thinking June will be sold out of space. We normally sell out in July, but because our registrations are 50% higher than last year, I guess, between the show and all the other things we do, more people are hearing about it. And then we've also increased our followers on Facebook dramatically. So, if you plan to come as an author or vendor, don't wait to register because the space is maybe gone if you wait. If you snooze, you may lose. So anyway, this is the next announcement. Our featured authors, we're getting our lineup together for that. We just, a few days ago, we confirmed April Ryan as a featured author. April Ryan is a White House correspondent. She used to be for the Griot, but I think she's also with another network. And so you probably have seen her on TV asking questions during the White House briefings. And she's going to be here with the paperback release of her book, Black Women Rule the World, or something like that. I don't have the exact title, but she's going to be here. And we're waiting on one more featured author. So we have Vashonda Tate, Vanessa Miller, Quan, and then we have April Ryan. We're waiting on one more confirmation. And I won't say who it is because they said they're going to tell us, but they haven't said yes yet. So I don't want to say who it is. But it's a name that you probably would know. So we're waiting on that. And finally, from time to time, we do book club kickbacks, and where we have the author and we have book clubs on screen for a discussion. So our next kickback, we haven't had one in a while. The next one is going to be May 21st. And we have Alyssa Cole as our featured author for the kickback. And we're going to be reading her brand new book, which comes out next month, called One of Us Knows. So we're excited about that as well. So we have several announcements that were impactful. And we have a book we're giving away. We'll give this away after the next interview, but we're giving away. This is a book, hardcover, Time's Undoing by Cheryl Head. She was on the show last May, and this is historical fiction. So we're ready for our next guest, which is another bookstore owner. So Rhonda, we're bringing on Trenessa Williams. She's owner of Kizzy's Books and More. And we have it listed at Winter Garden, Florida, but I'm not sure that's where the store is located. I think that's where she lives, but we'll find out in a minute. So, Trenessa, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that Kizzy's books is named after Kizzy and Roots, or no?
Yes, ma'am. That's my favorite character from Roots. So you nailed it right on the mark. Many people ask me, Trenessa, how did you come up with Kizzy's? And I say she's named after Chick and George's mom and Kuta Kinte's daughter.
So tell me, what was it about Kizzy that resonated with you? Why is she your favorite character?
To me, it's her strength and her willpower throughout the whole story. So I love the whole, even though it was done before my time, I watched it every year faithfully. And it was something about her strength and how she was throughout the whole series and in the book that I liked her. So when I decided I wanted to own a bookstore many moons ago, and I had to come up with an idea and a concept and a name, and I was like, let's do Kizzy's. And when you look at the character, you can see what the logo for the bookstore is what draws you in, and it links a little bit.
Well, she definitely had a lot of things happen to her over the course of her life. If anybody, for those of you who have watched Roots, you know about Kizzy. And for those who haven't, you have to watch it. It's like a rite of passage. You have, and the second one too. But
enjoyed, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't think anything takes the place of the original, but I enjoyed the reimagining of Roots. And I thought they did a good job with updating that story while still holding true to the history
Mhm.
of the book. I mean, I thought they did a great job with it.
They did. And then also too, another thing that I loved as well when he did the whole Queen series. That was a great one too.
Yeah, that showed the other side. Have you seen Queen, Rhonda?
No, I saw it, but I never finished it. So I need to go back and watch it again. That came out while I was in college. I remember that.
Okay. Yeah, it was the other side of the family. So,
Right.
but the second, I was referring to the second Roots, the Next Generations.
Okay.
Yeah, not the remake of the original Roots.
Okay,
With
I was just saying I enjoyed the remake.
but you did say that.
Yeah, I said I enjoyed the remake because I just liked that they wanted to bring a lot more historical significance to the movie, and I thought they did a really good job with injecting a lot of that.
Well, when the first one came out, it was a national event. It was a national moment. It was like George Floyd, but not in a negative way. But it was a nationwide thing. It was major. It was like the first of its kind. It was on for a whole week. It was on every night for a whole week on network television. So it made an amazing mark on just the psyche of the nation. It was as impactful as George Floyd. It didn't cause demonstrations, of course, because Black people saw it as a positive. Some people, I heard this years later. Some people said when they would go to work the next day, they would be mad. You know, they would have to hold their feelings and stuff. But it was a national event when the original came out. So that's why it's hard for me to put the new one, the remake, in the same vein, just because of the impact of the first one.
Well,
But I'm sure it was great. I didn't see the whole thing. I just couldn't, it wasn't the same for me. So I couldn't watch the whole thing.
Well, I think that's a whole different conversation.
It is. It is.
But no, it made an impact on you so much that you named your store.
After yes, ma'am. I wanted to make sure that when I know you all are probably curious, like Trenessa, how did you come up with Kizzy's? What made you want to own a bookstore? So I'm gonna lead up to that if it's possible, or you all are the host.
No. When did you open the bookstore, and then tell us the backstory?
Okay, so the launch, the website, because we're online now, we don't have a physical location, so we've been online since 2018. So our website launched in 2018, but the idea and the concept of Kizzy's actually started in 2008. I had moved to Orlando in November of 2007. And a couple months later, I started my MBA program, and I got up one Saturday and I was like, I want a book. And there was this popular Black-owned bookstore named Montessori Books that was here in Orlando. It was flourishing, and I remember coming and visiting when I was an undergraduate at FAM. I would come when I visit my sister, I would always go to this bookstore. So one Saturday I got up and I went to that location, and that bookstore was not there anymore. And so after that, I started to look to say, okay, where can I go to buy a book? That's, Black-owned bookstore. And then come to find out, there wasn't one at all. And so that sparked my curiosity. That made me want to own a bookstore. But my parents always told myself and my siblings that no matter what it is that we start, sink or swim, meaning either you give it your all so that way it's be successful was what you wanted, or you're going to sink at it, meaning that you didn't put any effort into it. And so I was like, okay, sink or swim, I need to get some information on here. So I started that quest in regards to getting some information on wanting to own a bookstore. But throughout that time, I went on to school. I finished my MBA, got in marketing, and went and got my doctorate. And then my mom had a come to Jesus moment with me. And she was like, Miss, you've been doing this for about 10 years, doing this research, going to this conference. What are you going to do? And so 2018, September 19th, that's when the website launched. With the goal here is still, it's the goal to still have a location here in Orlando in the Paramore area, because that was a historical area for African Americans here in Orlando. So the goal is to here, because we don't have a central location, because our stories matter. And we need to have a place here in Orlando that promotes the literary works, because we have some amazing authors. And when they come here, there really isn't no location here as it relates to for authors. So that's what I've been working towards doing, promoting literacy, and to also there are quite a bit of book deserts here in Orlando. In the Orlando, I live in Ocoee, which is outside of Winter Garden, but there's a lot of book deserts here, meaning that there are areas where kids don't even have access to books that relates to them. And so last year, I started a book donation drive, collected 122 books from grades K through 12, and those were given out to the kids to make sure they had a book that represented them, because reading is the most powerful thing. And it's the gateway for many things, and it's the superpower that leads us to think and to connect, become empathetic with the stories. And oftentimes when we read a good book, it sparks that curiosity to make us want to know more about it, because we get that experience to live it through the powerful words of that author. And then that's what I started to do as a part of a project with Kizzy's, is to get where those kids can have access to a free book. I'm doing it again this year as well, because here in Florida we have the banned books, and there's a lot of places here. There's even a lot of libraries that don't have particular books because they're banned and the stories are being silenced and everything.
I was actually going to ask you about that, because Florida has been making a lot of news about not being the best place for Black people to live. And I'm wondering, how has that impacted your store? Do you find more people are wanting to learn and they're coming to your store, especially in the place that I believe you're near Orlando?
Yes, ma'am. So there's quite a bit of people that come to us for our that purchase from us. We have people across the country. A couple weeks, about a week or so ago, I sat on a panel with a couple people that was in politics, a couple community leaders, and what they talked about is in regards to the impact of what's going on as it relates to education, how it's impacting us, and what are some solutions that we have for the community. And that's exactly what I talked about, is that our kids need to have access. And one of the solutions that I had came up with, and I started to do last year, is to make sure that our kids have access to a book. This year, I reached out. Last year, it's just my customers, they donated books and they just mailed it in. I said, wherever you shop out, if you see a book that's banned or your favorite children's author that you would like a child to have, just mail it to us. And so that helped. And representation matters. So we worked on that particular when they asked me about, well, what is the solution, or what do you think that some parents should do? And I said, even if you don't have a child, and if you're out at a store, you can buy a book and just say, hey, this book fits some of your interests, just to get one book that's related. I have a friend that's a teacher, and I donated one of the books that I collected last year. I donated a book, and one of the characters, it was I can't think of her name right now, but it begins with the O, and she's a famous tennis player. But she has this book that talks about diversity, and one of the characters in the book is in a wheelchair. And so my friend as a teacher, I gave her that book, and she added that to her class library. And she has a little girl this year that's in the wheelchair. And just by her seeing a Black child in a wheelchair in that picture book, she related to it and she read it so much. And that really sparked with her interest. And so one of the things that I was saying, that with the promotion in, especially for kids to access the reading and to spark that interest, is to find out something that they need or that they're interested in, and just give them that book. And that book, they might read it about 50 times, but that one book might spark that interest to read something else and to spark that curiosity. So that's a couple things there. What we talked about is something that we can do, because reading and writing is some of the most powerful things. And, throughout history, that's one of the things they tried to restrict us with is through literacy and our ability to write, because those are some of the powerful things. And so if we can get to our kids, even our adults too, some of them are trying to figure out what books to read and what are some great authors, because we have some amazing people that write. And if you, some people just don't know where to start. And if you can just give them a recommendation, say, hey, do you like such and such? This is a page turner here. And then next thing you know, like you're going to fall in love with this book and you're going to be living for it. And that's one of the things there. And I think that's one of the things that I work towards doing is making sure that we have access and have that free flow of where we can talk about books. Even with myself, I'm always open to a book. So if you say, hey, Trenessa, you need this book in your life, go ahead and read this book. I'm going to say, okay, let me go and get this book in my life. I need it. And then I read it. And, one of the great things is reading is a great escape, and it's the most powerful thing. And that's why I tell a lot of people, reading is your superpower, because right now, one of the things that is being powerful right now is they know that knowledge is power, and they're trying to restrict that knowledge. And right now I'm currently reading multiple books, but one of the books that I'm reading now is called Black Voices by Jessica and Mitchell and Awar. I probably said the name wrong, but let me know if I said it wrong. But in here she has there's a quote in here by Hail Selassie, and he talked in that quote that's in there, says, education and the quest of knowledge only stops at the grave. So it's telling you to continue on to get that quest of knowledge, and reading is where you can get that quest of knowledge. And it's that gateway.
I'm very passionate about what you're saying. And it's always great to see people who have a passion for literacy. I share that passion with you. I believe the book that you were talking about earlier was by Naomi Osaka.
Yes, that's what it is.
I looked it up. It's The Way Champs Play. And there is a character in a wheelchair.
That's the book. And just by giving it to, I want to say she's in second grade, but just by having that book and she added it to the library, and that she said every day that child, when they have reading time, she goes to get that book because it's good to see something that represents her.
That's a good, you've given me some food for thought. I'm going to be working on my book series installment 6 and 7 this year. So, that's something that I may include in the characters in the book. I hadn't thought of that one. You try to include different, you look at different angles when you write. So, but that's one that I'm going to include in either 6 or 7, or maybe both. So you say you don't have a physical location yet. If I heard you correctly.
Yes, ma'am. We don't have a physical location, just online.
Do you do pop-up shops?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay.
In fact, actually, last Thursday, I was a vendor at there was a Black History Month event at the Rosen. They have a campus with UCF, the University of Central Florida, and I was one of the vendors that was there. So on occasion, I do pop-ups throughout the county.
Area. Okay. Well, that's good. So do you anticipate doing the brick and mortar permanent, or do you want to focus more on an online presence?
No, when I started, the first thing, having a physical location, that was my main concern. But then I was like, no, you know what? Let me go online first to build that momentum, and then have the location. But working in higher ed and doing this at the same time, so I finally now I'm really making plans on doing some things. But that's one of the things, is the physical location, because there needs to be an actual location where lovers of African American literature and the culture, they can come together, especially here in Orlando. so that way they can meet up, discuss books, and have a wide range of books that represents us. Because in the big stores, they don't have a big selection of our work. You probably find a small section that's like a bookshelf.
And they have all the books. They don't have our books. Well, and I'll just use Barnes and Nobles as the example of that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't create genres for our books. They just have all of our books in one section.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the romances with the mysteries, with the fantasies, with the nonfiction. They motivate. They just have a African American. And when one in the Barnes and Nobles, one of them I went in, they called it urban literature, which is not. That's not what it was. But they just, it's like the Black stuff. They have in a section. And on the one hand, you can go look at things, but that's and it was always in the back of the store. So
I would say that the Barnes and Noble near me, I think they've done a little bit better job. First of all, they don't call it urban fiction; they call it Black voices in fiction.
Okay.
With that, but I see the Black section, so to speak, two ways. Because one, I don't want us all to be in one section because we don't all have the same literary taste. But at the same time, sometimes I just want a Black author.
I mean, it's like six on one hand and half a dozen on the other.
Right.
On in a one way, I just don't like the way they have it labeled, because see, it was urban literature when they had historical fiction in there. That's not urban.
Exactly. That's like Black voices in literature or something like that. Don't call it.
That's better. That's better than what they had.
Even when Borders, I don't even think Borders is around anymore. But I remember when Borders, they used to have like a whole section. It was much bigger and wider selection than Barnes and Noble. So at least I used to be able to get lost. When you talk about Barnes and Noble, but back in the day, I'm making it sound like I'm about 70 years old. But but they used to have this huge selection, and I used to sit on the floor and just get the books that I wanted to read or look to see what type of literature, because they had it broken down into different sections. Now it's just like one big pile and stuff like that. And it's more than those particular sections. We have more genres than that.
Yeah, we have many genres. And at the National Black Book Festival, we normally will have 20 genres every year, all different kinds of books. So we in a Black bookstore, things are broken down according to different genres. But it's just at the big box stores, they just see us as one big blob, and that's how they have our books. And it could be a memoir. They had everything in this urban section. Religious and faith was there too. T.D. Jakes' books, they had everything in that section. So, do people who, well, I guess because you don't necessarily have people coming in, but when you do pop-ups, for example, or they might even ask you online, do people ask you where the name Kizzy came from, or do most people know where it came from, or do most people not know?
No, most people don't know, because often sometimes people get asked, your name is Kizzy. I'm like, no, my name is Trenessa. And then and then you're gonna laugh at this too, because you know how my logo looks. One person was like, you did your logo after Prince. And I was like, no, ma'am. I was like, I don't think my logo looks like Prince, but thank you. But
I'm looking at it right now. I can kind of see it. I see where they're going with it. The afro.
Probably so. And a little string of hair.
On first glance, yeah, maybe.
I never saw it, but people do ask. Some people often ask those that do know about about Roots, they automatically ask, "Is your bookstore named after Kizzy, the character from Roots?" And then there are some others that ask, "Well, why would you use the name Kizzy's? It's different. You know, people will remember it by."
It
And
is
then
memorable. And that's
so
the only place I've heard it is in Roots. I haven't heard that name anywhere except Roots.
I've met a person named Kizzy once in my life, and
Have
I
you?
had a friend named Toby, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I think they're the only two people in my life I've ever met with those names.
hmm yeah,
Wow.
I know a couple. Actually, I have a friend now that her name is Kizzy, but even growing up, I met like one or two Kizzies ever so often.
Yeah, it's an uncommon name. And he said it was from his it was a tribal word. It
hmm
meant stay put. And
hmm
so um I don't know if people who are from that region of Africa are named Kizzy still. You know, I don't know if that name has
Yeah,
circulated, but
yeah,
in
yeah.
Roots she led a full life and she
Mhm.
had a lot of hard things
Yeah,
happen to her.
yeah,
But
and many
she
years.
also overcame them, you know, through
Mhm.
her legacy, through her children. I
Yeah,
like when she spit in Miss Ann's water.
yeah, I rooted for that one. Yeah, a couple like many years ago, when I was in middle school, actually, my mom had went over to West Africa, and she managed to actually get around that time. There was a few relatives that were still alive there, and she was able to get a picture of I want to say like two or three of the relatives that were still alive. But this was back in like in the '90s time when she went over.
Oh,
So and she was
okay.
able to get a picture because they visited that area. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and I thought that was, that was pretty cool that she was able to go and see a couple of the relatives that were still alive around that time.
That's cool.
Wow.
I like.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, we did
So
put the link to your bookstore in the chat, and it's Kissy's books and wait, where is it?
and
Kissy's
more.
books, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, wait a minute, what happened to it?
Yeah,
I see
so
it.
the
Oh, I see it.
website is www.kizzy'sbooksandmore.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
see it.
maybe I
He
need to
posted.
refresh this.
Mhm,
Okay, because
mhm.
I was missing it.
Yeah, and one of the viewers said that a beauty salon in her old neighborhood used to have a stylist
Okay,
named Kizzy.
because I'm.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Mhm. So it is a name. And Gwen Hayes said, yes, Borders did a better job of displaying our books.
I'll tell you, Borders was very supportive of authors of color. When I first wrote my book, my very first book back way now here I go back in the day.
It's 20, isn't it your
Yeah,
20th anniversary this year
yes, this is the 20th anniversary of my first
of their
book.
first book? Mhm.
Yeah, back then, Cheating in the Next Room, I promoted it all the time at Borders. Anytime I wanted to do a book signing at Borders, they let me do it. We used to have writers clubs there, writers workshops there. I miss Borders.
Yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time there because here we don't have it now. But here during that time we had the Shrine of the Black Madonna.
Hmm.
And it was a major, like they had a huge book selection, art. They had a huge area where we could have events. So we had a lot of our events there. So that was kind of what we supported. We had a Borders, but it wasn't close. It was kind of off the beaten path. And they kind of closed all at once. I think like
It's all of a sudden.
nationwide, they just closed all.
Mhm.
But I
Um,
will say though, Trenessa, thank you for what you are doing
Mhm.
for literacy and for just keeping Black books alive, especially in a place like Florida.
Mhm.
There's so much going on, but thank you for what you are doing and keeping the culture alive. This is what we need more of. So keep that passion going, and if there's anything that I can do to support, let me know.
Thank you. And again, as I mentioned before, got this nervous itch right here. Sorry. Again, as I mentioned before, I am collecting books for picture books, middle grade books, chapter books, young adult books written by Black authors. If wherever you are in the United States, if you manage to go by a store and you see a book and you would like to donate, just go ahead and we are accepting it, and you can mail it to the address that's on our website at the bottom. That's our UPS store website. Our UPS store address. So if you manage to go out and just pick up one book, you can mail it to us, and that'll be donated to given out to a child this summer. So yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so do you have a deadline?
Yes, ma'am. It's April 29th. The deadline is April 29th.
Okay.
So the deadline is to have them in April 29th. So far, I've collected 60 books. And the goal is the goal is 300 this year. We'd like to go more than that, but the minimum is 300 this year. So that way, at least we have 300 kids this summer to have a book to read.
That's wonderful. And is the information on your website? So
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV, and continued success with Kizzy's Books and More. And
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank
night.
you. You too. Be safe. Bye.
You too. Okay, so we had two bookstore owners on, and with different visions and different inspirations for why they opened the store, and they're in different parts of the country. So one's in the Atlanta area, one's in the Orlando, Florida area. So if you're in either of those areas or plan to visit them, give them some support. So, Rhonda, are we ready for our next guest?
Oh, I thought you were going to do the book.
Okay, well, we can do that. We'll do the trivia for the book first, and then we'll give it away. We'll announce who won it at the end of the interview. So, Time's Undoing by Cheryl Head. The trivia for this book is the storyline of the book. It starts in Birmingham, Alabama in 1929, and then the storyline goes back and forth between the Birmingham and another city in the United States in 2019. So what's the other city, the contemporary aspect of the book? What city does it cover? And you can win your copy of this book. It's an actual book. So put the answer in the comments and the book will be yours.
Okay, so while we're bringing in our next guest.
Okay. And the Curtis won it already. So I don't know how he does that.
Are you sending him the answer on the slide?
I don't get it. But anyway, Curtis, kudos to you, because before I can even get the question out, you have the answer. So
I'm glad you now send me the question in advance, because I used to have to type it in while you were reading it.
Right.
Typing, people would already have the answer. So I said, okay.
Yeah. So now I send it to you in advance. So at least you can just drop it in, copy and paste. So our next guest is Veronica Chapman. Veronica was on the show a couple of years ago when she was launching her Black Children's Book Week. And so she's back again. We wanted to try to get her on before the book week, but we weren't able to get her scheduled. So she just ended the book week. Or is this the end of the book week? Is it still going on, or was it last week?
This past Saturday was the final day.
The last day.
Well,
okay.
But to be honest, like, events happen on Sunday as well.
Okay, so Veronica, for those who weren't watching the show during that time or who don't remember, what is the Black Children's Book Week all about, and why did you think it's important to start it?
Sure. So Black Children's Book Week is a global celebration of Black children and the power of Black representation in children's books. So it's a week to show some extra love to our children and to those who make sure that they are represented in books and other children's media, especially Black authors and so illustrators.
Okay. And you have it right at the tail end of Black History Month. So it kind of extends the month.
Right. It actually, so yes, it was kind of like a joke because um it was a joke because one, there's a couple of things. I don't like to have the same conversation multiple times. And over the years, you keep hearing, it's the shortest month, Black History is the shortest month of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, so all those people can stop complaining because now they have extra days to celebrate Black children. And that is why I launched it then. But it's funny because people are just like, they're always well, especially okay, let me back up. It's global. So people in the UK were like, well, that's not our Black History Month. And so I had to explain, like, I put it there for a certain segment, but obviously the week is for everyone. So
Yeah, I was surprised when I was living in Europe. I lived in Europe for 5 years, and I was so surprised that Black History Month was in October in the UK. And then they go so out with Black History Month. I mean, they do so many activities all throughout the country. I was like, oh, this is how you celebrate Black History Month. Love it there.
and the reason for starting it was I just noticed like all the collective mourning we've done on social media, whether I mean okay, so one, of course, we witnessed the murder of George Floyd, but there have been so many other people who I keep saying I'm still in mourning over, names I don't even know. And I just noticed that we're always doing a lot of collective mourning. And I was like, you know what? We deserve more joy. Our children deserve more joy. Black people everywhere deserve more joy because I don't know anybody anywhere, any Black people anywhere who's not dealing with the uh impacts of um what what I call the doom quest for white supremacy, but just the fact that it's not a reality that there will ever be like white supremacy. Like you can't be a supreme being. But I mean, the attempts are real, and so our children are dealing with a lot of racism, and that's a global thing. And so I said, well, you know what? We can globally celebrate them, and that was the reason for wanting to launch Black Children's Week.
And it's taken off really well since you launched it.
You know what? Because one thing I noticed, it was launched at an online forum that I hosted, and there were hundreds of people there. And I told them, like, here's the mission. And the reality is, especially like Black authors and those of us who are self-publishing or traditionally published, we're already activists in our own way. Like we said, okay, there's very few books or not as many books or not enough books with Black representation. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna figure out how to find an illustrator. We're gonna figure out how to find an editor. We're gonna figure out how to get it printed. There's a lot of figuring out as I'm also an author, so I know there's a lot of figuring it out and we're not just motivated by dollars, we're motivated by impact. And so I knew that this community of people would hear this message and be inspired by it. And the other thing about it is, and this is based on feedback that I've heard, people love that it's something that inspires them to do, to be part of something greater. That it's not about me. It's not about, the week isn't about me personally. It's not about my business personally. It's about this mission that already resonates with us. And it's something fun. It's something joyful. So I call it scheduled joy. And the other thing I would say, Black Children's Book Week has proven to be an activating force. So that is why it's taking off because people are like, you mean I could be part of something that is joyful, impactful, and beneficial to the children I write for, the children I draw for, and to me too. Like people are promoting their books, they're selling books, you know, um, and I think, that's why it's taking off because people see the excitement and the energy and the impact, and everybody wants to be part of it. And it's an accessible celebration. So there's a checklist. Everybody doesn't have to host events. Some people do, but you can also check out a Black book from the library. You can support a Black bookstore. You can host a Zoom with the children in your family and do a reading of a Black book. It doesn't cost you anything, or it can cost you money. If you want to host an event, you can do that. And I feel like, and even like some of the feedback I've gotten is like, I've had this book club forever, but when you put Black Children's Book Week on the map, I said, oh, I'm going to do this with my book club by Black Children's Book Week. I'm going to go harder. We're going to do more. And it inspired people to action. And I think that's why it's taken off.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, purpose behind that train that you have going on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's so much fun, you know, like I I was out somewhere. I was the first day of Black Children's Book Week, I was supporting two Black bookstores. I went and I found two Black bookstores to support, and one of them, so I went to Spelman undergrad. One of the founders of Stories of a Colorful World is a Spelmanite, and we were talking because she was at doing a pop up. Her bookstore is online, but she was at a pop up, and I was talking to her, and she was like, "Girl, Black Children's Book Week is popping." Like, I was like, "Girl, I'm just as excited as you because I'm on social media just like everybody else. Like, oh my gosh, look what they're doing in Houston. Look what they're doing in California." Because it's structured that online you can register the events, but everyone doesn't register their events. Sometimes it's in a classroom, sometimes it's in a church. Like a church emailed last year, for example, they're like, we had a book, they were in Harlem. We had a book drive at our church. We just want to show you this display we created and we donated to our local community. And so there's so many things that don't make the calendar that I don't find out about until after the fact. And I'm always in amazement, like, oh my gosh, that is so cool, you know? so it's exciting.
Can there be maybe two events going on in the same city, or do you try to limit it to one event per city?
So
No,
this is like you're collecting all of the things. It's like a clearinghouse,
it's
sort
I'll
of.
just it's a place where so I right. So I own this platform called Black Baby Books that makes it easier to discover children's books with Black characters, and that is the facilitating organization for Black Children's Book Week. Because I launched it under Black Baby Books, but
Okay.
so when I launched it, I built like a technological platform under it. So there's a platform you can register your event. There's a platform you can download the celebration checklist. There's a platform. I built a Black Children's Book Museum in the metaverse, and that is where I feature the sponsors for Black Children's Book Week. So you can go to blackchildrensbookweek.org and you can go visit, you can create an avatar and walk through an online museum to support our sponsors. And I did that because one, it does, you know, the technology under Black Children's Book Week costs money, but also every year um, I invest, I use the money from sponsors and donors to invest in other Black authors. So like, thus far I've invested $7,500 in the last 3 years. We hold a pitch competition at the end, and each author wins $500. And I would say the majority of them have been kids. A lot of them have been kids who enter this pitch competition and they come to this event and they say like, hey, I just launched this and I would like money to advertise it, because I've learned that a lot of times, especially in it's for Black indie authors, especially us, this demographic, when I did some research, we spend so much time trying to find the money to publish, the money to pay the illustrator, the money to print. And it's usually like the marketing budget is like the last thing that's on our list. So I said, $500 is actually a good chunk of change for an indie author for a couple of reasons. One, the way I published my first book, I bought two illustrations from the artist and I said, hey, like I can't afford all of them. What I'm gonna do is gonna buy a couple of illustrations. I'm gonna do a pre-order campaign and I'm gonna use these illustrations to attract, pre-orders. And that's what I did. And it cost me $500. Or a lot of people, there's online platforms you can advertise your book. It's for 30 cents a click. $500 can get a lot of eyes on your book. So that's how we came up with that amount. And it's been really, really cool. It's the third year. And the sponsors are like 98% Black authors and organizations. And we're reinvesting into Black indie authors who are very intentional about making sure Black children are represented in their books.
Wonderful. I'm sorry, you were about to ask something, weren't you, Gwen? Go ahead.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about the African American read-ins and how this seems like it's an upgrade of that to be more digital, rather than necessarily having the read-ins in your city. You can connect with other people online and actually make it bigger, have more impact, reach more people.
But you know what I found has been so cool to watch? I mean, because honestly, first of all, let's be clear. I'm just somebody, I am a very obedient person in the sense of like, if I'm given a vision, you better trust that it's gonna happen. Like that's really my story. Like I get a vision and I follow through on the vision. So that's the reality. So I don't never know what the impact is going to be. I just do the work and then I'm in all like everybody else, not in every, and I tell people all the time, every idea that I ever had has not been great. Some ideas you launch, you're like, I'm good. Next. I mean, that's happened to me a couple times, but this idea, the way that it just was like divinely inspired, I'm just going to tell you, because I was during this time that the idea came to mind, I had three or four members of my family in the hospital. I was going back and forth, and they were in three different hospitals. I was going back. There was all this stuff going on, and I was just like, I know I'm not expected to launch this in the middle of all of this. And then it was like, yes, you are. And I said, okay, well, here it goes. And so I guess, what I'm saying is that the things that are happening as a result of launching it are things that I did not anticipate, could not anticipate, and can't take credit for. And so, for example, when I had that launch event at the beginning, a couple years ago, there have been literacy organizations that have formed as a result of my launching Black Children's Book Week. So there's now a group in DC called Black Children's Books DMV. They host events with featuring Black authors all throughout the year. This past year, another one formed in Oklahoma, Black Children's Books Oklahoma. They're going to be doing the same thing. And there have been a lot of collaborations between Black authors who met at that initial event in the comment section and have met offline to collaborate to do something for Black Children's Book Week and beyond. I mean, they just had at Malik Books in Los Angeles, there was just this massive event. And I feel like there were like 6 authors who came together along with the owner, Malik Books, Malik, to do this event. And when I saw the pictures and the video, I was just blown away. And so that's why I'm just so grateful just for the vision, because like the things that have happened as a result are amazing to witness. And the joy that people are like, the joy was the intention, and the joy that people are reporting, that they're feeling during this week. I just like, it just blows me away, honestly. I'm so just really grateful that we get to experience this, because I just really believe like we deserve more joy. Because if you think about Black people, all the things that we're subjected to, we still have like birthed so many great things in this world, period. And I just felt in the last few years in my own family, but also just in the world, it's just been like so much sadness and mourning and destruction. And I was just like, this just can't be it. Like, this just can't be it. Like, I just will not do, I just can't, I won't accept that. And so that's where this idea birthed, it birthed from that belief that this can't be it. So, not saying we don't have fights to fight. Unfortunately, we do, because people just can't get their last. I don't know. People are stuck in this cycle of terrible, but at least we have some joy. Some scheduled joy is what I call Black Children's Book Week.
Scheduled joy.
Mhm.
I was thinking, Rhonda, have you heard about the one in the DMV that she mentioned?
I believe I have. I mean, I know there are a number of events, but I feel like the one that you're talking about in DC, I just saw that one on come across Instagram.
Sarah, I think her last name is Acors. I don't want to mispronounce her name, but her first name is Sarah. I think her last name is Acors. She's amazing. She's amazing. And the work she's doing in DC is amazing. So if y'all could talk to her, please do. Like, she's just great. Reach out to her. Yeah, I'll connect you all via email.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Malik has been on the show, so we're familiar with him and his two bookstores in California.
Oh, I didn't know he had 2.
He has 2.
Oh, okay. I gotta go out there. I haven't. Yeah. I have this thing where I'm trying to visit. I need to come down to y'all because I want to go to Kindred Books. Isn't there Kindred Stories? Kindred Stories in Houston. My god sister's best friend actually owns that. So I've met the owner, but I want to come to the store. So I'm like, I just need to put together a little tour of Black bookstores.
We'll be happy to
Come
help
to the
you.
book festival in October.
Oh,
The
October.
National Black Book Festival is October 17th through the 19th.
Okay, so I need to come down there.
Yeah, and then you
And
can kill two birds with one stone. You can come
that
to
sounds
the event.
October, and then swing through DC in February for the Black History Month Literary Weekend.
Now that sounds fabulous because I didn't know about the Black History Month Literary Weekend.
You're about to find out about it. I'm gonna send you the info.
Oh, okay, please do. Please. I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
there's lots and lots going on. So
Yeah, I need to listen. Here's the thing. I promise you, I keep meeting such great people like you all just from launching this. So now I got there's somebody I gotta swing through Tulsa, Oklahoma. I gotta swing through Seattle. Like I was like, I need a whole budget just to go meet all the cool people in person. So yeah, no, Texas, I'm well overdue for Texas. And one of my Spelman sisters lives there too. And she's one of my favorite people. So I've been to Houston, but it's been a minute, so I'm overdue.
Now, when
yeah,
did you
and
graduate?
Houston is big, so depending on
2003.
where you were.
No, I know.
You might have been an hour away from where we are. It's still in Houston. That's
true.
Houston.
You said you graduated from Spelman in 2003?
Yep. Right?
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Yes, 2003. I'm sorry.
We've had Atlanta on tonight.
I know
There's lots of Atlanta connections tonight.
Really? Yeah,
The
I'm
first
so
guest
bad
was a bookstore in Atlanta. And then
And she graduated from Clark Atlanta. And I was telling her my daughter graduated from Clark Atlanta.
my best friend graduated from Clark Atlanta.
He was in the house tonight.
My cousin graduated from Clark. I have a lot of Clark Atlanta.
You went to Spelman.
I did.
oh,
Well,
okay.
it was the only, I applied early. It was the only school I applied to, and thank God they let me in.
Well, you knew where you wanted to go. That's
My daughter applied to like 6 schools, I believe.
Mhm.
And when the acceptance letters started coming in, she said, I'm not saying yes to anybody until I hear from Clark Atlanta.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that was how my daughter was. She applied to 2 other schools only to pacify her father, my husband, because he wanted her to stay in Texas. She was not going to do that. She wanted to go to North Carolina Central. That was it, period.
Yep. She was
So
like, I got to go.
She said she had to go. That's how she ended up going debt free. That's how I ended up writing the book, Rhonda, because my husband didn't want her to leave the state. My selling point had to be that it was paid. And so that's how I figured out how to get her there debt free and ended up writing the book.
I love
And
that.
the rest is history.
I love that. Who doesn't
She
want that free?
Yeah. So, but she did. I mean, but if you know where you want to go and you get to go there, that's the best. Even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way you want, at least it's the decision you made based on, it's not something that your parents forced you to do. And I when parents ask me about it, if they can figure the money part out, where you go to college is one of the most crucial and impactful things that happen in your life, especially during those years. And if you feel like you didn't get to go where you wanted to go, that's gonna always be in your crop,
Especially you got to pay loans later. You were like, wait, I'm paying for it.
Well,
I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I didn't want to go there. Yeah,
I
so
was asking you earlier, is there an age limit on the types of books that you all collect? Like, for instance, do you only want young readers? Do you want young adult readers?
For Black Children's Book Week?
Yeah.
Oh, so here's the funny thing. So someone asked me this at the launch thing, and I said, and I stand by this. I can't tell you who your baby is. Your baby might be 18. Your baby might be 21. I just need you to understand the intention behind the week, and as long as it's in line with that, I'm cool. So I don't put any, I don't even have children. I'm not a parent.
That's
You know,
interesting.
no, you know what I say, I work for them. I believe I
But
like
you probably have more time to do this because you don't have to.
possibly, possibly. But I think I've always, been dedicated to children, especially Black children, just knowing what I know. Knowing what I know was like growing up with as a Black child in a world where your intelligence can be questioned. All these things can be questioned because of people's perception of Black, their internalized
They're
anti-Blackness,
prejudice.
their prejudice.
Mhm.
And I say this all the time. I like my intention is very much just this, that knowing what our children will encounter, I just want when they encounter it that they recognize that this external force is the problem and they're not the problem. I don't want any of our kids internalizing any anti-Blackness. And I know the power of representation, especially positive representation, how impactful that can be. And I think that's why I do what I want to do. Because ultimately, I want to live in a world where people believe in the power of their dreams. They believe they can act in their ideas. They believe that they're beings who can do, like it doesn't have to be a grand change. It could be like whatever it is that they feel like they want to do, that they believe they can do it. And I know that if you do internalize anti-Blackness, you will be questioning your potential, just like the world can question your potential. There's so many things that can hinder our children, especially. And I know I'm very fortunate. I'm very confident, and I'm not. And this is not even in a pretentious way. This is not in any kind of like. No one will ever meet me and be like, "She is so snotty." Like that's just not how my soul's set up. But what they will encounter is someone who really believes in themselves and someone who really loves themselves, and that's why I love people so genuinely. And like that's, I feel like just I want more people to be like that, and I wanted to start with their children, and that's kind of how I got down this path.
That's beautiful.
That's a good, it is, that's a beautiful way to describe it. And it is always wonderful to be confident, not arrogant. There's a difference, but being confident in that whatever you set out to do, that you can do it and it can be successful. It doesn't mean that everything that you do will, but that's
Nope.
human.
No, it
That's
doesn't.
all human.
Right.
Some stuff you try, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It
I got
just
a whole
doesn't.
I got a whole closet of those.
But if you can figure that out fairly early and not, you know, continue to throw good money after bad, or, you
Mhm.
know, um, yeah, you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them, as
Yeah.
like the Texas hold them.
But
So
you know what else it is though, because I am a children's book author and I do readings and I do go into schools or libraries, or I see how it like affects children, like the positive impacts of that. I see their faces, I see their excitement, I see because I'm really clear, because this is the reason why I write. When I go read for my kids, the kids I wrote the book for, I tell them, "Oh, I wrote this book for you." They're like, "What made you write this?" I wrote this exactly for you, for
mm,
you, because that's the only. I don't do stuff just to do stuff. I'm not. I I tell somebody. I told somebody like I never seek external validation. Like I have no need for it. Like I validate myself. Like I know why I do what I do. I'm very intentional. So when I see the kids, I'm like, listen, this is all about you. I got to attend this really cool Black Children's Book Week event hosted by the local Urban League here and the recreational department for this town. And I told the kids, I said, listen, Black Children's Book Week is about our love for you, and that's what we're trying to show you here. And it was so awesome. It was the Urban League of Union County in New Jersey and the Hillside Recreational Department in Hillside, New Jersey. And they were there with kids, teaching them how to write their own books. And they like left with their own books that they had written, and they were so excited. And to see our children being loved on and being affirmed um, all over has been just amazing to watch. And I'm still Like, just, I don't think I've taken it all in because it's just so beautiful. I get tagged in a lot of stuff. People are like, oh, look what we're doing here. And I'm
Okay.
still going through all the tags, seeing what happened during the week. And I'm just really in amazement. I think it's really beautiful, the work that I tell people all the time, the work that we collectively are doing. So I might have brought the vision, but the people are bringing the power behind it. So that's cool.
That's great.
That's a great final word. I wish we could talk.
Yeah. I
But
do have one final question for her because I know we're at the end of the segment. Do you have the dates for your week for next year yet?
Yes, I do. Okay, so Black Children's Book Week always starts on the last Sunday in February. And
Okay.
yep, so this year, oh well, no, next year, right? We just finished this year.
2025 is
It'll be February 23rd, 25 to March 1st,
okay.
2025. Mhm.
Okay.
it's already on your Instagram because
It's it's already on there, right? I was like, no, right after I'll be like half sleep, recover for the week. Like, all right, let's go save this date for next year. They like, well, let's start plotting for next year now. So yeah.
this is why we're going to talk offline because your event happens the day after my event ends, so we can work this out.
Oh, yeah, let me know. I would love to learn more about this. Is in DC?
Yeah.
Wait, so you're in Houston, but your event's in DC or you're in DC?
No, I'm in Houston.
You're in Houston. Okay, okay, okay.
Oh,
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
then you really do need to meet Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
that's what I said. Let's talk offline. You
Yeah.
know, we're already following each other on Instagram, so we'll reach out and we'll talk more. But I know we got to end because we have one more guest to come
Okay.
on.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to hold that. Thank you so much.
And we
I'm so
thank
grateful that
you.
you all would have me a second time. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank
and thank
you.
you for coming and thank you for all you're doing for our kids. We
Oh,
put your website in the chat. So everybody make sure you visit the website, find out where there's a collection in your area, and let's continue to support Black Children's Book Week.
thank y'all so much. And I'll see you in Houston. I'll see you in DC.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Bye bye.
Okay, we are going to be bringing on our final guest. I did want to say The Time's Undoing by Cheryl Head. It was won by Curtis Steverson, one of our regular viewers and regular book winners. So, Curtis, the book will be on its way to you soon.
Yay.
Okay. All right. So, DeVaughn is our final guest, and D is published under the umbrella of BK Royston Publishing, which is one of the friends of the show. We will frequently have, or I should say periodically, not frequently, have authors who are published under the BK Royston Publishing umbrella. And Dee DeVaughn is our most recent guest, and she is an author and a dog lover, from what I gathered from her information. So, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello, and thank you, ladies, for having me this evening.
And thank you for being here.
You're welcome. And your book, show us a copy of, do you have a copy of your book handy with
I
you?
do.
It's called Doggy and Me.
Yes, ma'am. This is a cookbook intended for dogs, but also I do meals for my family as well as my dog, so hence the doggy and me. I created 3 different seasoning blends, in which was the reason I did the cookbook, so that people could know how to use it and see that I'm doing human grade food with human grade seasonings. Our seasonings are FDA approved as well as Kentucky Proud certified, which means we use local products from our farmers local here. And I mean, the food is gourmet style, beautiful food that you would love to eat, and the dog does too.
Not sharing your food with the dog, are you? Y'all like having the y'all have the dog sitting at the table and y'all all eating the same thing?
Okay, so my husband does not allow her at the table, but I do have a little kitchen table for her. And a lot of, I'll prepare her food and put it in her bowl and stuff as well. But we do my store. I have a brick and mortar store as well as online. But the store is a doggy boutique that also houses a doggy cafe. So you can come in, and it is doggy and me as well. So you can come in and have a cappuccino, and the dog have a puppuccino, or whatever your preference is. Yeah. So we have a very petite menu for humans, and then a nice size menu of the dog items such as mocktails and smoothies and all that good stuff.
I've seen that on TV, but I didn't know it was a real thing.
You know what? I get a lot. I get a lot of people that come in and, being of color, they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you really do that? Like, is your mama white? Like, no. So it is definitely Black families love their pets and treat them as family members as well. So my biggest thing has been my husband had some health issues and we needed to be on a heart healthy diet. And in the midst of me researching what was going to be healthy items for him, I was researching for the dog as well, and found that majority of the items that are good for us are also good for them. We can have a few more things than they can, of course, but I literally use these seasonings on our food as well as the dog's food, and they both get health benefits from it.
Do you find that the food that you're preparing for your dog is actually a little healthier than what the dog food that you would buy in the store?
Absolutely. A lot of the process that the dog foods that, especially with the dry kibbles, have been done at a very high heat. And so a lot of the nutrients and stuff have been actually baked out. And then there's also a lot of fillers. So when I'm fixing her meals, I'm seasoning with our seasonings, but she's getting filet, shrimp, broccoli, potatoes. It's everything that you would eat. Because of course, why do dogs beg for your food? Because one, it has flavor. It tastes good, and so they want to eat something that is tasty as well, that is also good for their health.
Well,
Wow.
this is, what? I didn't exactly know the content of the book. This is very interesting and
Yeah.
different conversation. I see those farmers dog commercials that sell the human food more or less prepackaged for dogs.
Yes.
And so what makes your food? Because I know once you package something, you have to have some kind of preservatives if you're going to be shipping products and things like that. So and in your doggy cafe or your doggy and me store, how how many dogs come in like per week?
Oh, depending on the weather. Here I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, so we get real winter and then we get real summer.
Okay.
So we actually opened the store this past September. So we got a little bit of the good weather and then went right into some snow. But on average, we have anywhere from 15 to 20 dogs that come in weekly. And that's during bad weather. During good weather, we've had a ton of dogs that come in, and they can come in the store off leash as long as your dog is controlled. But we have them; they can sit at the counter. I'm in a courtyard at the art center, so I've got tables outside. So there's also like a pizza parlor and a brewery. So we get a lot of the guests that actually bring their dogs out. And if they're going to the brewery to get a beer, then they come to us and get a dog beer or dog wine or something. The pizza parlor, same thing. Then they come and get the dog items from us, and they can all sit out in the courtyard together and have that experience
I'm in
together.
the DC area, and there are dog parks everywhere around here.
Mhm.
And I could really see a place like yours doing really well near these dog parks. Because the dogs are out there, they're everywhere. They go for walks, they're playing, they have little, I don't know what you call them, jungle gyms or something, for the dogs.
Oh, the agility parks. Yeah.
Thank you, the agility parks. So I
Mhm.
mean, I could really see that. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people really see dogs as a part of the family. I have a really, really close friend who has a dog, and her dog, she takes her dog to, I think it's PetSmart, but they have dog parties every Friday, and they dress them up with like for the it could be Halloween or St. Patrick's Day or whatever. And I mean, and her dog is the most photogenic dog I've ever seen. I told her if I was an agent, I could get her a deal because but her dog has a best friend at the Dog Smart. And I didn't even know dogs could do that. But I'm not a dog. I didn't grow up with dogs. In fact, I never had a dog until 3 years ago when we left our gate open when the landscaper was cutting our backyard and a dog came in our backyard. And she's our dog. I never, because my parents wouldn't let us have a dog. So they said, my mama said it was too much work. It was going to be too much work for her. That's what she said. And she was right. So,
Well, I have three things that I wanted to point out. One,
okay.
I had a feeling you were from Kentucky because I picked up on that accent.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Station at Fort Knox a long time ago, once upon a time.
Okay.
I recognize the accent. Two, I think your cover is beautiful. It looks like a magazine. It looks like a really high-end magazine. And it goes very well with the high-end product that you're preparing, because I'm quite sure that it's not cheap to prepare the type of food that you're making for the dog.
Actually, it's not that bad. I do have a YouTube channel where I talk to you and prepare some of the meals, but oddly enough, if you go to the dog supply store and you buy the big bag of dry food, it's going to cost you anywhere from $20 to $40, depending on how big your bag is. Well, I include her in my grocery bill. So literally I'm only adding maybe $20 to my grocery bill for her foods. So I actually end up getting out a little cheaper because I'm buying, if I buy a couple chickens or some steaks and stuff like that, and I'm doing a variety pack, then I have what I'm preparing for my family, and then I portion hers out. But I can make multiple meals out of what a serving for us would be. So I actually come out cheaper in the end.
Okay, do you see a difference in the animal's behavior? Will people see that in terms of their agility, their energy, even their regularity in terms of
Absolutely. I have a miniature schnauzer who that is who the book, the company, everything is named after, is luxdior.co. And again, from the seasonings that we use, there's things in there that's like ginger and turmeric. You've got rosemary, basil, cilantro. You have all of these items, flaxseed and chia seed. So all of these things are helping with their bone structure, their cell generation and development, their digestive systems. Because you get a lot of these dogs that have food allergies, and then people are going through trying to test which foods that they can have. But the problem is you've had all this processed food, and same way the processed food, is junk to our system, and ends up being junk to theirs. So now they come up with, now the dog has cancer, the dog has diabetes, the dog has all of these ailments. And how is that if you're feeding them this dry foods? What's in it? See what I'm saying? So it's not just some grains. You're giving them something else that is causing their health to deteriorate. So if I am tackling a lot of those things and doing some preventative measures, but then I'm also taking away all of the gook out of the food, because now she is getting a good source of meat. She's getting her vegetables. She can add in there's some fruits that are going in there, but then I'm doing the flax seed and chia seed and other grains, oats and stuff like that. Then she's getting all those other things that she needs. So my biggest thing is, with our seasonings, you can actually cook the food for them, or you can add it to their dry food or their farmers market, any of those items, and then hydrate it as well. But at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that the dog has the longest life possible, because I mean, again, these are family members to most people, and you want them to be around as long as they can possibly be around. So Miss Lux is not lacking in any energy whatsoever. But she's only a year old, and she's at the store with me every day. So she's there. She interacts with all the other dogs and stuff that come in. And earlier you asked about the packaging. So I actually don't sell the food to ship out. I have events at the store where you can pre-order some of the meals, and we'll do that. And then I do snacks to order, but basically just push, buy the seasonings, get one of the recipes, make, you can make the food that way.
Okay.
That makes sense. So basically people can't order from you, and like, you know how some people do meal preps. People can't order a meal prep from you.
We do that locally, but I haven't got to the point
Not
of
shipping.
shipping that out.
So this
Okay.
is why they should buy the book, so they can learn how to make these
Absolutely. Yes, because right now, if I were to prepare you a week's worth of food, by the time I have to package it safe enough to ship it to you, you're going to spend more than if you just went and bought the ingredients and made it yourself. So
Right. The
I wanted
shipping
to
is
make sure.
probably more than the food.
Absolutely it is.
Because you have to get it there fast in order for it to stay not to go bad. So what is your background? How did you get interested in doggy food and dogs like that?
So my real background is I am a brand developer. And so I have over 2 decades of experience in either starting or helping grow small businesses to success. And so, kind of what happened with this is I call this my business that happened on accident. Because I mean, I currently run, my husband and I have 5 companies that I physically, do all the admin stuff for and run on a daily basis. But our youngest daughter went off to college. She got an apartment. She's not coming home as often. So I needed something else. I don't know why, because I had enough on my plate. But I got the dog, and I made her an Instagram so that my family that's out of state could check the dog out. And I woke up one morning and she had more followers than me. And what I was doing was showing, what we're doing, going shopping and her food and having coffee together in the mornings and that sort of thing. So I looked at her and I'm like, everything I do is a brand. Do you want to be a brand? And she started posing. So that's what we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was business by
Wow.
accident.
Okay. Sometimes those are the best ones. Sometimes the unplanned create something spontaneous and you didn't see it coming necessarily, but it's all good. If you're out there doing things, that's gonna happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
And I will say that again, I've been doing this for over 20 years as far as building brands. And this thing, when I say it didn't take off running, it put roller skates on, and I was just like, whoa, like you gonna make my wig come off type of thing. I got the dog the beginning of March last year. And again, we started with Instagram, then we did an online store. And within a 7-month time period, we had the book, we had the seasonings, we had online and brick and mortar. And I mean, it's just been crazy. So I will have to say that this is one of those moments where I'm like, I wish a couple of my other businesses had took off as fast as this one did, but it was the moment that it needed to be, and it was everything that I needed in that moment.
Beautiful. So what do you think? Well, I have 2 questions. First is what do you think was different about this particular project that made it take off the way it did?
It was disruptive. And that's been the difference. I went last August to National Pet Convention, and I went with the promo sheet for, because the book wasn't out yet. I was giving people like the heads up, I'm coming. And it was, people were looking at the cover and they were like, whoa, this is nice. And then exactly what I was doing, I did have some videos that I was able to show right on hand when I made some of those connections. And they were like, this is wow, like this is gonna take off, and I'm glad I met you in the beginning stages of this, so please don't forget me type of thing. So I built a lot of relationships with that community. One of the things that I did see is being there, I mean, this thing was huge and there were not a lot of us. And the areas where I did see us was more in the grooming and breeding side. So when it came down to, well, there's so many other areas and this almost feels untapped for us, it was another thing that made it so disruptive because a lot of people, you know, look at you and go, "Oh, black people don't do their dogs like that." Well, it's a lot of them that do, and I've been making money off of those that do. So,
Now, my second question was, what is that one important thing that you should remember when it comes to cooking fresh food for your dogs? I know you said that the dogs can pretty much eat almost anything that a human eats, but what is that one thing we should remember when we're preparing food for our pets?
well, I'm gonna say a couple things. One, remember that cooked bones splinter, so you don't want to cause an accident that way. So if you are cooking foods that have bones in it, remove the bones once it's done. If you're giving them any kind of bones, it needs to be raw, preferably even frozen for the most part. And then no onion, no garlic. So I mean, in my household, I season my food. I really season it. So I'm not putting any salt, any garlic, any onions, things of that nature that would eat up their stomach linings or upset their stomach. Um, and then on the positive note, I add a lot of pumpkin. You know, I'm a good person. I grew up on chili. And so we do a dog chili and it's lentil with pumpkin puree and stuff like that. So even for people taking their dogs into more natural and human grade food, I would say add pumpkin to it because that helps soothe their stomach and transition them over.
I'll make a pumpkin chili. That it's a recipe that I found. It's very spicy, but pumpkin is one of the puree is one of the ingredients, as well as semi semi sweet chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like got a lot of spice. You know, it's spicy. It's got the cayenne pepper, the paprika, chili powder, black pepper. I think it has white pepper. It is really delicious. But I found it in a magazine and tried it. So,
It
but you're
sounds
right about
familiar.
it's delicious. And I use it like I eat it as chili, and then I'll freeze the smaller like containers and use it on hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a chili for hot dogs. But whenever I serve it, people love it. So,
Yes.
but I knew about the garlic thing with dogs, but I didn't know about onions.
Yeah, not the onions. The acid or the acidity in the onions isn't good for their
Okay,
system either.
okay.
Hmm.
Well,
I don't know, but that's something I just would have never thought about. So I mean, I'm glad that I asked that question because there are pet owners who are watching this show who may not have thought about something like that.
Yeah. So that's the main reason when people tell you or the veterinarians say, don't feed your dog table scraps, is 9 times out of 10, you've cooked with something that isn't healthy for them, is why it makes it bad. But if you are cooking something with the intentions that this is for the dog and you're not adding those ingredients, then they'll be fine.
Mhm.
Well, Stephanie Burnham says that she's hoping to make it to CatCon this year. She's glad to hear about more pet conferences. See, I've never heard of PetCon.
Me either. Cat kind. Well, you know, we're a cat family, so we've had cats. Well, we have the dog is outside because the dog came in our backyard. So, and I don't know anything about training dogs and having dogs inside, and I wasn't going through that. So she's always been outside. But you know, we bought her a house and we have a heating pad in her house. We have a heater out there when it's cold. And in Houston, we don't really get cold. You know, we might have a cold night here and there. So, but she has the whole backyard to herself. And but I didn't know about CatCon. You know, but I believe you about the going viral with the dog because animal videos are very popular and easy to watch because they're just cute, you know. I
Mhm.
look at cat videos all the time.
Well, these animals have a whole lot of personality.
They really do. And people can film some amazing situations with cats especially. You know, the and dogs, but I look at more cat videos than
Mhm.
dogs. But I know the animal videos are very popular. And you know, it's something that makes you kind of feel, it's something that makes you feel good. You know,
Absolutely.
it's a positive experience. It's not something crazy, it's not hypersexual, it's not violent, you know. It's just cute, you know.
Mhm.
And
Well, they
people
can
love
bring a lot of love to a situation as well. Like I said, she was
it.
filling a void for me, and she gives the best little hugs, and she's got a little attitude sometimes too, and she'll come and tap me on my shoulder, and she does this lightweight talk thing that is crazy, but typically that means she needs a snack or she needs to go out. So
Now, did you get her as a puppy?
I did. She was 7 weeks old when I got her.
Okay. And what's her name? Did you tell us her name?
It is Lux Dior.
Oh, Lux Dior, the name. Okay, the website name.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
your dog's name.
Normally, I put everybody's website in the chat, but for some reason, every time I put your website in the chat, it says it goes against the community standards. So I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know, but our website, the Instagram, Facebook, everything is luxdior.co. So
well,
LUXDIOR.
I'm gonna tell people to Google it because they won't let me put it in the chat. So I'm gonna
Really?
Google LUX
DI.
Dior.
Yes, ma'am.
DIOR.co, not .com.
No, I put .co and it wouldn't let me
It
put
wouldn't let you do it. Oh, you know, Facebook has been doing some weird stuff. Uh, it was down for a couple of hours today. Meta was. So, um, you know, it's if it's technology, it can go down.
Right.
We rely on it so much, but sometimes it can go down. So, what are you doing with your book? Like, how's your book selling? And when did it come out? When did it come out?
We launched the book in October of 2023.
Okay.
So we did a big signing. I still do little pop-up signings, and you can always come in the store and have your book signed. But we are on Amazon as well as the Barnes and Noble website.
Okay. Well, Dee, this was an interesting. I don't have we ever had a pet book? I don't think we ever have. And we've had over 600 guests. So you are our first.
Well, thank you.
But it's really interesting. And it's really a creative entrepreneurial endeavor. I really like. So that's great. It's good to see people doing innovative
I
things.
love that you're creative with it, but at the same time, it's still glam, it's still upscale.
Yeah.
I mean, from the cover to the quality of the food that you're preparing to the way you're presenting it, it's all glam together, and it's very upscale. It's very beautiful. So congratulations on that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. And then I know that Miss Royston has connections with you all. So if it's okay, if you want to give her your address, then I'll make sure that I can send you some treats and stuff for the dog.
Oh, okay, that's sweet. My dog is named Daisy. I named her after my mom. I couldn't think of any other names. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Well, we're at the end of our show almost. We got one more minute left. So thank you so much, Dee, for being a guest on the show. And congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This was a treat and a pleasure being here. I actually watched the other segments as well, and I was sitting back like absolutely the right place to be in.
Oh, thank you.
That's sweet.
We appreciate
Okay.
it. And we appreciate you
Good.
taking the time to talk with us tonight. This was a fun interview.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed myself as well.
All right. Well,
Oh.
congratulations on everything that you're doing. You have a wonderful evening. Thanks once again for being on the show, and best wishes to you in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, you too. Well, that is the end of the show for this week. And we will have another amazing lineup of guests next week. And good night to everybody.
You're not going to say you're Gwen Richardson signing off?
I'm Gwen Richardson. Saying it went, you know, our media manager was like, okay, it's time to go. Oh, I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.